Well, there are several tax changes you may need to think about this year, and you can get help with Jackson Hewitt. Our team at Charlotte today have details on how to navigate this tax season.
You know that tax season is upon us, and whether you've already filed or you're still tackling all the paperwork, we have helped to get you on the right track thanks to Mark Stieber with Jackson Hewitt. Mark, thanks for joining us.
Very important time, very exciting time.
For sure. Okay, so what are your top 3 tips for last-minute filers?
Well, don't be the last minute. I know that's like 30 and 40 million people, but you don't need to be in that group. There's still plenty of time, regardless of when you're watching this. So don't wait to the last minute for a lot of different reasons, the most important of which is you might be getting a refund. Why wait to get your money? But equally important, a lot of tax law changes this year. You may have some new questions that you didn't have last year, like do you have tips? Do you have overtime? Did you buy a car? Are you over 65? Did you have a life change? Are you trading crypto? And I could go on and on. And so if you're waiting to the last minute and your tax pro says, hey, we need a little bit more, you're not scrambling to run home and try to dig out and find that information and maybe leave some benefit off. So best reason to file early is it gives you a little more time. Second reason, you might be due money. Go get that money.
You know, there's a lot of people who think they can do their taxes by themselves, and they often do it by themselves. But why should someone consult a tax pro like Jackson Hewitt?
Well, the easiest reason is stress. You know, if you're going to do it yourself, and that's fine, a lot of people do. We at Jackson Hewitt certainly have a self-prep engine. You have to do the work. There's no shortcut to understanding what a deduction is, what a dependent is. Do I make this election? And some of the software is good, but you might misread it and cost yourself money, and the IRS is just not going to send you more money. So a trained, experienced, branded tax professional can not only lower your stress, they can probably pay for themselves either with finding that additional deduction or benefit or reducing the stress that you're going to be under so you're drinking more coffee and costing yourself money. And even if you do it yourself, you still need a tax pro just so you can confirm a fact, debunk a myth, or just check something. As many life changes and tax law changes as there are every year. And most good tax pros, they love answering a question. And so they don't necessarily have to do your taxes if you have a relationship, but you can't just call them up and say, hey, do I really get a deduction for being 65? You know, maybe you'll get a good answer, maybe not. But if you've got a relationship, and even if you just have them check your return, they don't mind answering the question and they don't mind helping you get the most money you can. So a tax pro, aside from stress, should pay for themselves, both finding those deductions and helping you plan for each and every year, because a lot of things change every year.
Absolutely worth it. I think so, for sure. You touched on this a little bit, Mark, but say more about how life changes can impact a tax return.
I'll say it this way. Life changes drive more confusion and are more often overlooked than tax law changes. On shows like this, you're talking about the new tip deduction, the new overtime deduction, the new senior deduction, the new car interest deduction, but no one's talking about taking care of your dependent parents, starting that new side hustle or expanding that side hustle, starting to trade in crypto and getting those basis calculations right. And the list goes on and on and on, and you don't see that. So you'll watch a video or you'll use some smart chat Google thing, but you don't necessarily understand it all unless you've been to the training, you've been to the resource experience that a lot of companies do to make sure we understand it. And if you shortcut that, most times, yeah, you may make a mistake and the IRS comes to ask, you don't want to get an audit. But what happens more often than not is you leave something off your tax return that is more money in your pocket, and the IRS does not just correct that and send you more cash. So the long story short is life changes are more common and they're bigger and have bigger tax impact, but a lot less notoriety, so you can get it wrong and literally cheat yourself.
I filed an extension before, so how do extensions work, and what are some of the misconceptions of extensions?
Well, we love extensions because you get to pay twice to get your taxes done, one to work up the extension and then one to do the tax return. A lot of people, especially at this time of year, say, well, I'm going to owe, or I need a little more time to pay, I'm going to extend. First mistake you make is an extension is only to send in your paperwork. It is not an extension of time to pay money. If you think you're going to pay money later, you're going to pay penalties and interest and probably a cleanup charge. So an extension is just a real reason to do your taxes twice, and we tax people love that, but it's not really good for taxpayers. 3 out of 4 people are due a refund. Go get that money. Extension doesn't help you there. And secondly, if you're missing that document, hope is not a strategy. If it hadn't come, it's not coming. You need to get on the phone or get on the internet or find your pro and get that last piece of paper, which is usually one little thing, and then you can get your taxes done and start thinking about next year and how to save taxes.
Let Jackson Hewitt help you. You can go to the web address that you see right there on the screen. Mark Stieber from Jackson Hewitt, I've never been so excited about taxes.
Well,
Thank you very
$400 billion, it's not March Madness money, but that's a lot of tax refund money, the biggest we've seen in 20 years. Go get that money.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.